Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, Rangers. It's me, Jackie Kashian. Welcome to the Dork Forest. It's 2024. Let's do this. Here's the credits, of course. Mike Ruekberg sang that song at the beginning, and he wrote that song, and he sang it with Sarah Cohen, his wife, and he will sing the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Also, Patrick Brady, still putting this together. Video, audio, all of it. He's amazing. So, and Vilmos doing JackieKashianStore.com. Squarespace is doing the regular Jackie Kashian page, and I'm thinking of moving the Dork Forest and dorkforest.com away from WordPress because it's driving me nuts. But those are the credits. But if you go to JackieKashian.com, you can get Dork Forest merch. You can get my stand-up merch. You can get my stand-up CDs and DVDs, which you'd have to have devices for those. You can also see videos and find out any number of things. I have another podcast called The Jackie and Laurie Show, but the Dork Forest is the flagship. 18th year. We're doing it, you guys. You can go to my Bandcamp or my YouTube for extra content. Please donate, is what I'm saying. It's 2024, and I think we've been in this long enough. Why don't you guys, everybody send me $100? That's what I'd like you to do. You can PayPal me. There's links all over the pages. You can Venmo me at Jackie Kashian. You can find me at a stand-up show and hand me a sweaty wad of 20s. Do something. But I love doing the show. I would love to make some money, is what I'd like to do. In other news, I'm sure there's more things that I should talk about, but I can't think of them. But let's listen to who's going to dork out about something, because that's my favorite part. Thanks for listening, you guys. You're all great. Let's get into the show. It's me, Jackie Kashian, talking to friend of the show. Hasn't been on in 200 episodes. Martha Boles, welcome back to the program. Last time we learned that dueling pianos aren't really dueling. It's more of a collaborative effort.
It is. We're syncing up.
Right. Music, still your life. You're in San Diego and you're playing. So people go to San Diego, go see the pianos. What's the name of the venue?
It's called the Shout House. It's in the Gaslamp, 655 4th Avenue.
Shout House.
The Shout
Amen.
House. Mm-hmm.
And is it every night of the week? I say
it's
hopefully
6 nights
not.
a week.
It is 6 nights a week. So
It's
it'll
six
be a
nights.
Wednesday or Thursday or...
Yeah, I'm not there 6 nights a week. But
thank goodness.
The club is open 6 nights a week. Yeah.
That's really for the best.
Yeah.
And but we're not going to dork out about that. It's, by the way, it's marthaboles.com. It'll be in the notes. MarthaBoles.com. There we go. Now, it's fascinating because just yesterday we were discussing our signs, astrology, and it turns out I think this is what I think is that everyone knows their own sign and know what they're supposed to be like.
Right.
Because everyone keeps telling them, or it's on a placemat, or there's some beeswax. You read your horoscope 1,000 times when you're a child. So, what do you know about astrology? And why do you know about it? And what's so great about it? And yay, astrology.
Yay, astrology. It's funny. I've always been one of those who's like, oh, I'm an Aries. I was born in April, and this is what I know, my sun sign, and that was it. And then I think I found myself getting into it more probably during lockdown. Something to do,
Okay. Yeah.
something to focus on. And I found that there's more to it. There's more to it than just the sun sign. In fact, the sun sign is almost kind of secondary to the rising sign.
Oh.
Yeah, found this out. And to go back a bit, I couldn't tell you the history of astrology or anything, but it is an ancient kind of art. Like people looking up at the sky and tracking the phases of the moon and stuff. So it's always been around.
Noticing that people are different, whatever they're born.
Yes, different whenever they're born under the stars. We're all different under a full moon. I mean, we're lunatics. That's why.
Right. Hence the word lunatic.
Mhm.
Okay. So yeah, there's no way to. I once read a book by Charles Williams called Descent into something, whatever. It was a fictitious. Um, no, it was a tarot card thing. It was not the star sign. It was essentially the characters in the tarot cards had come to life and had been traveling with this Romani family for centuries, and it was how they used it to tell the future. It was science fiction fantasy, as we're talking about.
Ah.
1946. Yeah, never mind. Charles Williams. I read it for a class. It's over. It doesn't have anything to do with astrology. Do you have to know when you were born, like time?
It's helpful
Okay.
because at the exact time you were born, it's like, think of it as like a snapshot of the sky
Okay.
getting taken, a picture at this exact moment. And
This is
that's where
where
the
all the
stars are.
stars were.
Stars and the planets, this is where all the planets were at your time of birth. How's the sun was coming up over the horizon. That's the rising sign.
I see.
So
Wait a minute. What if you weren't born at sunrise?
or it doesn't
That's not what
then
it means.
that's not necessarily what it means, but it's like as far as rising goes,
Because I was
it'll
born
tell
at
you
something around 10:10 a.m.
excellent. Then somewhere in the world, the sun was coming up somewhere.
Oh,
And so
right.
there's a point to think about like when the sun does come up around then. You would just have a night chart
I see. Okay.
because your sun is on the other side. Like if you have a chart, I wish I could, I probably can show you. Think of it as the zodiac on a wheel. The
Right.
zodiac. Oh,
Oh, right, right. It's always on a wheel, and then there's
yeah.
different pies, and it goes whatever Sagittarius or Gemini. What's January?
Um, well, it's kind of split in the middle. January also shares around in January, you've got Capricorn season and Aquarius season. Aquarius season, which started yesterday, as a matter of fact. We
Andy
are
Ashcraft, an Aquarius.
an Aquarius.
Yes.
Called the
Um.
water bearer. The Aquarius is, and I hope people can follow along because I'm just going to be all over the place, and this
Yeah,
coffee isn't helping.
yeah. Or is it? I think it's
Or is
completely
it?
helping.
The sign of Aquarius is a fixed air sign. Now there are
Okay.
12 zodiac signs, and they fall into different categories. Like there's the modality, the way in which um it's stereotype, if you will. It's
Yeah.
character analysis or whatever.
Okay. Like
And
a
then
caricature to some
caricature,
extent.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Okay.
mythology of it all. Yeah, the modality. And then there's the element. So there are four elements: fire,
Oh,
earth, uh,
I
air, and water.
okay. I wanted to go with the band, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, wind, and fire. Yes,
Yeah.
there's that.
So, um, okay. So if half of it's okay, so there's the modality, and then there's the element, and then
Right.
so when does the element get worked into the modality? How do they work together?
Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's think of, oops, that's not going to work. Oh,
Nope.
is it?
Look it up.
Or is it?
Oh, kind of. It's got little squiggly lines
Little
symbolizing
squiggly
crabs
lines. I'm
and
going to do one of those things that people do. I can't tell you. I'm not an influencer. I don't know the hand thing. So I'll just have to tell you, Google a
guess what?
zodiac chart.
And then you'll see it. And then you'll be like, oh, I've seen that before. Yes, I think we've all
Yes.
seen it. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
So let's say, okay, there are 12 zodiac signs.
Okay.
And astrologically speaking, the zodiac, it starts with Aries. So we start with a fire sign.
Okay.
And
And when is that?
that is usually in the middle of March through the middle of April.
Okay.
And and to give you the thing, the modality is that it's a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs initiate seasons. So there are four cardinal signs.
Oh, because March and April is spring.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then there would be one for autumn, and then there would be one for summer, and there'd be one for winter.
Exactly.
Okay.
Those are the cardinal signs. So the four cardinal signs, Aries starts because that's
Okay.
spring. Fall is Libra.
Okay.
Winter, Capricorn.
Okay.
And then what am I missing? Did I skip? I
Summer?
know I did. Oh, sorry. Back up Aries, then Cancer. Cancer is the summer
Oh,
one.
okay. I'm a
So
Cancer. I'm a Cancer.
yeah, your
It's a
cardinal sun, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. So that's
okay. All
hmm
right. So why is it better to be born in a cardinal time or not?
Mm-mm,
It can't possibly.
mm-mm.
It's just different.
It's just different. It's just different. It's the energy. It speaks to the energy of what's happening. It's a time of initiation and change.
Okay, so
The
it's
beginning.
changing from one season to the next. So
Yeah.
there's sort of change in the air or change in the
hmm
path of the planets, and then okay,
Yeah.
what? Okay, so if it starts with Aries
Yeah.
in spring,
hmm
what does that mean for people? Like, what does that mean for people that were born in that? Do you know?
Um, well, Aries usually is I don't want to say caricature, but the description of an Aries.
Right.
They usually get the description of they're quick and fast and they start things. It's the sign, the animal or whatever that is associated with it is the ram. So you got the ram with its horns and it
Oh,
just
okay.
pushes through the world. It's got an energy of initiation. Aries are known to be people who start projects and start things and get things going. Not great on follow through, but great on starting.
Well, you need someone to start stuff, right?
Yeah,
You always need someone
yeah.
to start something. And there's going to be someone
hmm
next month who's not an Aries, who's
Who's
willing
not in
to,
here?
who's their whole thing is follow through. Their whole
Their
thing
whole
is,
thing follow through, stubbornness, getting grounded. That's why they're in order. So there's a fire sign that starts, and fire's like woo, and then Earth, the Earth sign, which kind of grounds you.
what's the next sign after Aries? What
Taurus.
Taurus. Oh, wait.
hmm
Is that a bull?
Yes.
Because that one's a ram, and then there's
Uh
a
huh.
bull.
And there's the bull.
Okay. Are there any
Yeah.
girls? Anyway.
Yeah. There will be. There will be.
later,
Absolutely.
later.
And there
So,
later on, we'll get to them. Um, oh, by the way, I'm going to backtrack to Aries real quick.
yeah.
Each zodiac sign.
hmm
I know way too much. Anyway,
This is so great.
I just
Can't wait.
I pretend I don't know. Not that I pretend I don't know. I take that back. I don't think I know as much as I do. And then people ask questions. I'm like, oh, it's this and this. I'm like, oh, I know a
It
lot more than I
turns out,
think. It
I've looked
turns
into
out
this.
I've looked into this. I can believe in the sun and the moon and the stars. Other things, I don't know.
They're a good place to start. It's an
Good
excellent.
place. And
We're going to need all of them.
right,
So,
right. And I don't. I think a lot of people think that astrology is something that's going to predict things. It's not necessarily that. It kind of just gives you a blueprint of like, here's the energy you have to work with. Here's the forecast of what's happening outside with the kind of energies. You're going to need an umbrella today. You're going to need sunscreen. You're going to need boots. Here's
right.
the energy that's moving through.
So as the whole world, not individuals, go through
hmm
different signs, does the
hmm
whole world sort of react in an Aries kind of way? Does the whole world kind of act in a Taurus kind of way? Or is it just the people that were born there reacting like there's
Oh,
the world's a shit show, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
Yes, the energy of the season affects us all differently, but the
okay.
energy of the season is there.
And it is by astrology definition would be an Aries season.
Yes.
A season of change, a season like that.
hmm
Um, I forgot that I put a chicken in the oven because that's what I'm like. So hang on a quick hot second.
Sure. And I'm going to grab my water.
Look, and we're back, you guys. If there was maybe there was an ad there. Probably not. I would have been the one to know. So I might as well write down if they do need an ad place, this would have been the place. Uh
Oh,
Hi,
makes me think of
everybody. I'm
talking
making,
heads.
for Christmas, I got an Egyptian cookbook. And because I've always wanted to go to Egypt. And
Oh,
there I'm making this, I made this spice mix it's called Baharat or something like that. And it's the usual suspects. It's your cumin, it's your coriander, it's a little paprika. But
hmm
then there's a couple other things like cardamom. And it's just a mix that you make. And I marinated a chicken in it. And now I am baking that chicken. But here's the thing: that marinade, I used it on a different thing to make sarmas with grape leaf wrap. You know the
yeah,
grape leaf wraps. I made there was an amazing, not Armenian at all, clearly Egyptian.
yeah.
Delicious. I may never make Armenian sarma again. I might only make because it's cubed chicken thighs that are marinated in this spice with a
hmm
little bit of lime, and then a little bit of oil, and then you marinate it overnight, and then you wrap those in the grape leaves, and then you grill them. And so the grape leaves are crispy, and you dip it in yogurt, and then you
Oh,
die. You die a
I
beautiful
love it.
death. And so what I did was I took the rest of that and I just marinated a whole chicken, but I also um, put in a little bit of yogurt in the marinade and a little bit of
Yeah,
oil. And so that's what I'm baking right now.
you're inspiring me.
You should. I recommend them occasionally. A marinade worth the effort. Just
Yeah,
gonna tell you,
I have some chicken in the refrigerator now, trying to get back to healthier eating and food prep.
right?
I use salt, pepper, smoked paprika, chop up
Smoke.
some garlic, a
Oh,
lot of
that's
red
it.
onions, put some olive oil in there, mix it up, and just
Do you now? Is this the ubiquitous skinless, boneless chicken breast?
no, this is the skinless, boneless chicken thighs
Better. Step in the
because
right direction. Can I
yeah.
recommend skin and bone? And then later you take it off if you because it then you don't need as much flavor. You don't need as much um
Oh,
you don't have to put as much oil in it because
that's true.
it has its own business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Guess what I am? A
Yeah.
Cancer. We're homebodies.
Yes, you are.
Anyway.
You got this. Oh my gosh. Yes, I can't wait. Oh my goodness. Your homebodies, you're nurturing, you're mothering. You are one of the signs. There are two signs in the zodiac that don't share any other planets. So the cancers are ruled by the moon, your emotions, your inner
Oh,
life, caretaking. Cancers are people who um, care for the collective and are
okay.
natural nurturers. That's one of the
Well, now Andy, who is
descriptions.
um January 29th,
He's in
um
Aquarius.
an Aquarius, right? So yesterday, he was jogging and he there was a woman who was half passed out, very,
Mm,
very drunk. And
mhm,
so he helped her up and walked her to our house.
mm.
And she was like shocked to find out that he was married. And then I believe this realization came afterwards, shocked to find out that none of us wanted to have sex with her. And because bless her heart, right? So he
Mhm,
just brought her home
mhm.
because she wasn't safe. And
Yeah.
so we got her a glass of water and a cup of coffee, and I was like, "It's okay. I've been half passed out on the side of the road. I'm so sorry." And she's like, "What, you?" And I said, "Sadly,
Mm.
me." And I was like, "I have a an allergy just to alcohol," and
Mhm.
she was like, "I do too. I get red." And she was still hammered when we drove her back to her apartment, but she was very, very sweet. She was like, "You have the best wife," she kept saying to him. And then moments later, she said, "Don't be jealous of me," to me. And I was like, "It's okay. Um, if he's got that kind of attention span, good for him. I don't." We made an agreement several years ago that we would at least discuss it.
Yeah.
So, yes, but so he was very caretakery in bringing her home,
Mhm.
and then we just we got her a ham sandwich. We had some.
Beautiful.
So it was what it was. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Is that Aquarius? What's Aquarius known for?
Aquarius is, and now we're in the age of Aquarius. Pluto's moved into Aquarius. That's a whole
Oh, okay.
thing.
It's a whole
The
thing.
Aquarius, let's see, it is the sign of the water bearer. That's why people mistake it as a water sign. It's not, it's an air sign.
Oh,
Air signs are, I'll have to say, it's a fixed air sign. So, going back to these, there's cardinal
right.
energy, there's mutable energy, and there's fixed energy.
Okay. What are the different mutable and
Yeah,
fixed?
actually, I should switch those. Cardinal energy, fixed energy, then mutable. And as I describe it, that order will make sense because that's the
Okay.
order they come in the zodiac. So
I
we
see.
started with Aries, which is a cardinal fire sign. Then we're
Okay.
moving to an earth sign, which is a fixed sign.
Makes sense. The earth is fixed.
It's a
Uh,
fixed earth sign. Yeah. So
okay.
the fixed signs are
Yeah.
the ones that hold the grounding. They're characterized as a bit more stubborn. Now, the fixed signs, since there are three different modalities, right? Yes, there are four fixed signs. Each of them, I would say, stubborn in their own way,
How about
right?
sturdy? How about a lot of
Sturdy.
backbone? How about a
That's
lot of
it.
yeah, sticking to itness? You know how
Stick
like
to itiveness. Absolutely.
on a Chinese placemat, you'll sometimes get
Hmm.
"Year of the Dragon" and it'll say the good
Yeah.
thing, but it will also say the bad thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I think it's both sides. Yeah.
Yeah. It is all of us. I like to look at it as uh, um, if I'm not aware of my behaviors, I can slip into those not so great attributes of Aries. I can
Okay.
slip into those. And I joke around that, okay, I'll give you my big three because you're your sun, moon, and rising. When people say, "Oh, what's your big three?" So my sun sign is Aries.
Okay.
My identity, what I came here
Like
for.
you were born on in the month of Aries, in the moments of
And
Aries.
in the Aries season, in the
Yes.
spring, I initiate things, and
Okay.
that's the fiery energy. Then my moon sign, which is my inner life, how I process emotions, is Sagittarius. That's also a fire sign, but it's mutable fire.
Now mutable being
Mutable being mutable. It
like smack it
easily
down.
like easily it can change given different information. It's like, oh, okay,
Okay.
this is how I relate to things. And the Sagittarians are known as the archer, the centaurs. That's a sign that it's the third fire sign. It is
Okay.
the one that likes to travel, is known for being just really gregarious, kind of life of the all the signs are kind of the fire signs are kind of life of the party like,
Oh,
but
right.
in different ways. The Sagittarians are known as being really thirsty for knowledge and philosophy and travel, things like that. So
Okay.
that's my moon sign. And then my
Right.
rising sign, I joke around that my rising sign has kept me out of jail because I got a lot of fire energy happening here. A
Right,
lot of
right.
fire. But I have a Virgo rising. So that's an earth sign. It's a mutable earth sign. It's the Virgos, also represented by the Virgin.
Oh,
Before it had that connotation of
right,
what,
right.
patriarchy's put on Virgin. Just
Okay.
very, um,
Oh, just innocence and experimental and just wide-eyed kind of.
yeah,
Nope.
but also very detailed. I guess in the description of Virgos that I know, known as the maiden or whatnot. What else? Virgos are known to be detail oriented, incredibly observant, organized.
Okay.
And then, like, each sign has its shadow descriptions.
Right.
Excuse me, people
Right,
would
right.
say Virgos are very, what is it, judgmental. And,
Okay.
but you want a Virgo in charge of things, I guess. You want a Virgo organizing things. I would say I can pay attention to the details and I can pass off the duties to a Libra.
Oh,
kind of let them
well,
handle the stuff.
it's good to do. It's
Yeah.
there's rising and there's moon and then there's what's the last one?
Sun, moon,
Sun.
rising.
Oh, sun, moon,
Hmm.
rising. That's it. So,
Hmm.
and the sun and the moon in your case are both fire, and
Yeah.
then the rising is earth. So it's a little
Yes.
more grounding, and
Yes.
so it's your as and you are incredibly charming and
Oh,
incredibly
thank you.
life of the party. And I mean, very, just all of that is real. But there is when as I've gotten to know you, a very
Hmm.
grounded part of you was like, no, we're good. We're just gonna I was gonna go home. And I'm gonna be very so that's so interesting. So how do you so sun is easy, right? Sun is your birthday.
Yeah.
How do you know
Yeah.
your rising is what time you're born?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
so
why it's
how do you
important. Time and does it matter where you're born? I guess they always
geology,
ask.
geography? Yeah.
Yeah, they ask what where you were born because I guess that's something I've got to Google. Anybody just Google that. Why it's important to know where and what time you were born because it's
Okay.
different. I have a
Okay.
different. Yeah.
That's interesting. And then the last
Yeah.
one, sun, moon, rising. So how do you know the moon? Is where the moon was when you were born that year?
Hmm.
Or
Where
that
the moon was at that time of the month because the moon
right.
cycle is every 28 days, so it moves around.
Right.
Um, yeah. So my
So if it's
moon.
waxing, it means something. If it's waning, it means something else.
Hmm.
And
Full moon or new moon. I was born at a full moon.
you were born of the full moon. That's
Hmm.
kind of exciting. And
Hmm.
so when someone's doing your chart, they're
Hmm.
looking at when you were born and then
Hmm.
what the moon was doing, and what the moon was doing will possibly put you or very likely put you in a different category of like is anybody like cancer?
Oh yeah, people
Okay.
it can line up like that. It's here's why it's important to know, or not important. It's helpful to
If you
know
care,
all
it's
if you
important.
care.
Yes.
It's because people are like, I'm not really, they'll look at the horoscope and say, I don't identify as a Libra. Well, you got more things happening than the sun. You got,
Right.
you know, eight other planets to choose from. Like what's happening in the sky with some of these planets, the placements, how the planets react to each other. What
Right.
was the moon doing? There's a lot happening. So it's not
Right.
just
What
the
about
one
when
thing.
somebody says that they're cuspy? Because I was told that I was
Ah.
cuspy.
That's a different thing. It's so funny. And I just was watching an astrologer the other day, and he was like, it's 2025. Let's stop talking about the cusp. Here's the thing. The cusp, it, astrology is pretty exact. You've got degrees. Each of these signs on this zodiac wheel have 30 degrees to them.
Right.
So if you know what time you were born and stuff, you can get an exact point, but you might be close to the next sign,
Right. Or the
or
yeah.
or the previous sign, or you might have what did I say? Lost the train of thought. I don't know,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
a
So but it's cuspy is not, and I don't even think I'm that close. It's July 20th. So it's not like I think the next Leo is like the 23rd or the 25th or something.
yeah, yeah.
So
Leo
I don't think
season's
it
pretty soon
actually
after that.
yeah. And
Yeah. There are
uh,
cusps. That just refers to the line at which it ends. That's the boundary. The cusps are the boundaries between the signs.
and that is all.
Um, and that's
So
it. Yeah. And
yeah.
people, we're all different.
And what about the year? The years is Chinese placement
Usually,
astrology
it
in my
is.
mind.
But
Yes.
it also refers to generational signs and placements, meaning we've got the inner planets, which are our personal planets and things so we've got the inner ones, meaning our sun, moon, planet, and then the rising sign is how the sun and the moon were at the time of birth. So those
Okay.
are the placements. Then our personal planets are the planets that have moved, that are closer to the earth, that really do have an effect on us. So that would be Mercury, Venus, Mars,
Mhm.
and then Jupiter. I mean, that's those transits as we
Pretty
get
far.
further out
Pretty
in
far.
the, yeah,
It's not
yeah,
really going to affect as much traffic as, let's say, a
exactly.
Mars. Yes.
Exactly. Mercury, like a lot of traffic. Those further planets,
Right.
depending on the year you were born, we're going to have the same signature, meaning people born between certain years are going to have their Pluto in Libra, like a lot of Gen
Okay.
Xers, Pluto in Libra. A lot of millennials have Pluto in Scorpio. Scorpio is a water sign. It's usually people are like, ooh, Scorpios. They're
Because
fixed
that
water signs,
fixed water.
mysterious, dark. Of all the zodiac signs, people say like zodiacs are really, Scorpios are really private, and sexy,
Okay.
dark, mysterious signs. I found that to be true in my life. With the
That is
Scorpios I know,
right, right. Very exciting.
incredibly intuitive and keep things close to the vest. I think
Okay.
people misunderstand a lot of Scorpios,
Well,
and people misunderstand
because
all
they
the
don't know,
signs.
right, right, because they don't know what their moon sign is or their rising sign. They could be mysterious, but also want to be starting a vegetable garden. You don't know.
Exactly.
There's nothing mysterious about a vegetable garden. It's going to be the
Right.
same or whatever you're doing. I mean, you could grow something weird. I have a neighbor who grows he grows peppers. So every
Mm,
time I go by, I'm always like, oh, those look terrifying. Like he grows like these tiny peppers that start out green and then they are black for a long time. They look done and then
right.
they turn red. And he's like,
Oh,
you want to eat them when they're black. If you eat them when they're red, they're kind of a little too much. And I'm like, and he's saying this in Spanish, so we're working it out. And but I just walked by him. He has a whole other pepper plant with that are just red, and I think they started out red. So I don't know what color but anyway, he might be a Scorpio because it's mysterious to me why he plants those. Because I think you could go buy one pepper and be happy all week.
right,
You don't have
right.
to. I mean, it's thousands of peppers.
He could
He
be a
has
pepper provider.
he might be, maybe it's a side, it could be a side hustle. Little
Mm-hmm.
he's fulfilling the pepper needs of businesses around town
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
like 8 plants that are creating thousands of tiny, tiny, very powerful peppers. So, what do I know? Anyway, so Taurus. So we've
Yes,
gone through Aries and we got to Taurus,
we got the Taurus,
and that was it.
and that yeah, and we
And
got 10
yeah,
more after that.
right, right. So what's after the Taurus?
Okay, so Taurus is again that fixed Earth sign. After Taurus is Gemini, and Gemini is a mutable air sign. That's our first air sign.
What
The
does air
sign of the
sign mean?
twins.
Right.
Um,
What does air do to a sign? Flighty?
no, it can be. That's what people. Yeah, like
I mean, that's probably what people say. It's sort of like a
of
Louise Hay
Gemini's.
affirmation where you're just like, oh, do your shoulders hurt? Is the weight of the world on you? So,
Exactly.
but so, I
It
mean,
could be.
air sign
Full
might,
disclosure, yeah, I
yeah,
don't know much about air signs because selfishly, I don't have a lot of air signatures in my chart. I mean, it's there. I
right.
know that where the Gemini house is. Actually, yeah, Gemini is my 10th house. Oh, by the way, if you have
Warehouse.
the wheel and you
Right.
know your rising sign is always the house number one. And then after that, they go in line to 12. So my first house is Virgo, and then the next house is Libra, and then carry on.
Well,
So
what does that mean? Like the first house, is that the first month of the year?
no,
No?
no. Your first, it's very personal. It's the first house for you represents. Okay, now I'm going to go look at a chart because I know I have a
Yeah.
little chart that says what does each
Right,
house
right.
represent. And so,
And while you do that, I'm going to Google the
yes.
words, what does an air sign mean?
Yes. So your first house represents self appearance, beginnings, the body, first impressions, attitude, identity, approach to life. So your rising sign is like
Oh,
your approach to life. How do people perceive you? Those first impressions, kind of thing, the body.
okay.
So
I
that's
see.
the first house, and that's what
Okay.
it represents.
An air sign is a zodiac sign that is associated with the element of air. AI can really go screw itself. It's Air signs are said to be intellectual,
Hmm.
communicative, and social.
Hmm.
Um, so that's thinkers, communicators, and doers of the zodiac. Analyze, synthesize, and probe. They breeze through life, never stopping to catch their breath. Uh,
Yeah,
they have a live and let live mentality. Their intelligence helps them make decisions easily.
that's fair.
Okay,
Yeah.
now the opposite of that, of course, is did you make the right decision? And you could, I mean, it doesn't mean that you're not nuts. So
Right. Exactly. And I look at these placements and chart things as like neither good nor bad. It's more
right.
what can be more challenging, what's not. These are the cards I'm dealt with. These are the I've learned my strengths here and I'm just gonna go with it. Like I'm
Do you take them as
not
kind of a
afraid.
pep talk? Kind of
Yeah. Like this
because
is how I move through the world.
right, this is a support of someone going, well, because you were born then, you're probably very intelligent and airy and communicative, and or if like to encourage sort of good behavior or make you kind of aware of things that might be negative. It's not a bad way to look at the project of living.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
It helps to know like, oh, here's how I process information. Here's how I process my inner life. Um, Here's where I like look out into the world and perceive things, the way in which I communicate.
right,
Um,
right, and at least it's a hint as to
mhm.
how you will at what might you be your strengths in dealing with these different things.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
I'm certainly not one of those to be like, oh, I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. I'm in Aries. Like, no, that's bullshit. That's not
Oh
be an
my god,
adult,
that's right.
you
That's a
know?
caricature in every like
Yeah.
uh, sitcom, or you're just like, I'm a Gemini. I'm gonna stab you in the back, and you're like,
I'm good. Yeah.
no, no, no. You're also an adult with a brain.
Hmm.
Don't do
Hmm.
that.
Right, right. Yeah, I know. I go, I I like to look at it like, oh, this is how I just process information and yeah,
Okay, that's
and
great.
move forward.
Okay, so we went from Taurus to
Taurus to Gemini, and
Gemini.
then after Gemini is Cancer. So that's our first water sign.
Okay. And
So
what
it's
and so what does a water sign do?
what? Yeah, do the googly goos. They are
We
the
Google what
they are the ones that are I think really think of the how water is. It's deep. It can be really powerful. Each of the water signs have different characteristics. The Cancer is a nurturing water sign. It's like the mother. It represents the mother, the womb.
okay.
We
There's all
are
kinds of water in the womb.
all
Um
kinds of water in the womb.
so the zodiac sign that's ruled by the element water, which is associated with emotions. The three water signs are Cancer,
Scorpio,
um and
Pisces.
Pisces?
Mhm.
Water. Right. Okay. So um water signs tend to be protective of themselves and their loved ones. These signs are often in tune with their emotions and
Yes.
rely on innate stuff. I'm
Yeah.
just reading the first almost paragraph and then three dots, you guys. Welcome to the Dork Forest, where, by the way, I am
Yeah.
talking with Martha Boles and I'm having a hell of a good time. I hope you are.
I am absolutely all the time. All the time.
Right, right. And it's yeah, so water signs are emotional. Cancer
Mhm.
is what we're talking about. And
Cancer is what we're talking about, represented by the crab.
that's right.
Um,
Why? Where do the
this
animals come from? Do we
the
know?
I'm not sure where the animals come from, but it's kind of a great archetype. That's the word, archetype
Oh,
for each
okay.
one. So the crab is protected by the shell,
That's
hard to
right.
get in there, but soft on the inside. They scuttle around, they scurry, move back and forth.
Oh
Um,
my God, that's
the
me.
next water sign, Scorpio, is protected by a shell. It's got a stinger, real protective. Scorpio ain't gonna mess with you unless you mess with it, and it can kill.
Oh,
So
that's
there's
right.
that.
And
Pisces
Pisces,
is the only water sign without a protective covering. It's
they have
represented by the
scales.
fish,
Yeah.
scales, but it's also the dreamiest one, of like more
Oh.
ethereal and really out there, and
And really just out there to really interact with the world as
interact, a lot
opposed
of
to,
fantasy stuff, like which is why it's important to know. Well, it can be for those who care. For
right,
those
right,
who care,
again, right,
know where the planets fall in to the chart. So yeah, initially my moon is in Sagittarius. I'm a fire sign Aries, but all the other planets, like where's my Mercury fall in, and where does Jupiter, and where's Venus? All that stuff is in Pisces. So I go to the chart, like where is Pisces in my chart? Well, because I'm a Virgo rising,
right.
excuse me, my opposite sign, each zodiac sign has like a sister sign opposite of it,
Okay.
a twin, if you will. So my opposite side is Pisces. So this is where the other side of the chart, where Virgo is organized and detailed, and I don't want to say results driven, but it just does
It's a
its
little bit of
thing.
that. Yeah.
It's a little bit of that. The opposite is Pisces, which is in the fantasy and the watery type thing. So a
Just
lot of
going
my
with the
planets are
flow,
there.
man.
Going with the flow. Going with the flow. I know that my Mercury handles communication and stuff. So my Mercury is in Pisces, and I'm really wordy and talking and just like ethereal. I'm just like I
Thank
don't even
God.
know.
I
I have
appreciate it
to.
as a podcast host. So,
Yeah, you're gonna have to do a lot of snipping, Jackie. We can
oh
go
no,
overtime.
no, it's plug and play. That's what I'm always hoping for with a Ranger of the Dork Forest. So
Oh, yeah.
that's fascinating. So if that's the water sign, and then the Earth sign, what's after Cancer? Leo.
After Cancer is a Leo.
All
Yes.
charming and
Charming,
outgoing.
courageous,
Courageous.
outgoing. People think it's the archetype is the lion, the mane, the character. It's also the dark side of, I guess, Leo. What people attribute it to is like really selfish, always has to be the center of attention. I think, but Leo also represents our childlike energy, the
Okay.
um the
The show offy kind
the
of.
show, yeah, the kid
Yeah.
who's like at Christmas, it's like, come watch my play. And
Right.
everybody lines up and gets in the living room and to watch this sweet
And we watched
child
the childhood
be
play.
expressive. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. And that's not water? Was that Earth?
No, Leo is, wait, let
Air?
me get the modality. No, Leo is air. Oh, sorry. Leo is fire. Sorry. There are three fire signs: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius.
Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So it's a fire sign. So fire can be just a lot of energy and
Hmm.
um just to go with the fire thing, probably a little volatile.
It
And
can be, yeah.
yeah. Okay. So what's after Leo?
After Leo, we have Virgo. That's
Virgo.
another
Oh,
earth
right, right.
sign.
That's the
So
doers.
yeah, the doers. So remember, we've got fire, earth, water, air.
Yeah.
So they go. So now we've got, wait, no, fire, earth. Sorry, fire, earth, air, then water. Sorry, that's the
Okay.
order. So each one goes into that. So Aries, fire; Taurus, earth; Gemini, air; Cancer, water; Leo, fire;
Oh, there we go.
Virgo, earth.
There we go.
Yeah.
So we're
And
and so Virgo is Earth
Virgo's
and
earth, mutable earth,
mutable Earth. So and it's mutable, cardinal, and
fixed.
fixed. And
Hmm.
so mutable is more changeable, obviously.
Yes.
I'd forgotten what that word meant about 20 minutes ago. Now I'm reminded.
Hmm.
It finally came back to me.
Yeah.
So an Earth one is fixed, meaning just more certainty, more needing that certainty, being certain, wanting to be.
Kind of stubbornness of it. Now the fixed Earth sign is Taurus,
Okay.
but the mutable Earth sign is Virgo.
Okay. So more
So
changeable.
we're changeable. Given new information, we can process that information, go in a different direction.
That's I love that. I love that about them. And
Hmm.
I love that about anyone. And
Right.
and then cardinal, so it's just, what does that mean?
Cardinal,
Because,
the initiating, the starting one,
well, the
the new
starting one, that's it.
season.
The
So
new
next
each of
after
the new
Virgo,
season. Yes.
yeah, after that mutable energy of like between seasons
Yeah.
and stuff, we've got the fixed air of Libra after
Oh,
Virgo.
right. Libra. And so,
Libra, represented by the scales of justice. Like I can see
oh,
both sides.
okay.
Um, a lot of middle child energy, that Libra. What else is a characteristic of Libra?
Middle.
Each of the signs is ruled by a planet. So,
Okay.
yeah, both Taurus and Libra are ruled by Venus.
Okay.
So Venus
So
sensibilities, not necessarily, I mean, yes, the divine feminine, but also caring and
kind of a
loving
kind of a
and
loving kind of thing, in the
yeah.
way, in the
Hmm.
historical mythology of Venus, the goddess
Right,
of love.
right.
I
Deals
and
with
all
money.
money,
Yeah, and money too. It's funny. Each of these signs deal with other things. Like,
like something super tangible.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's so much more to this. Like, it's all coming to me all of a sudden. Yeah.
Right,
Um,
right.
all of us, again, just for people who are like, oh, masculine, feminine. I know those terms are getting pushed around a lot. We're all a combination of it all. A
And
lot of
always
the
have
masculine.
been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And it never used to, I mean, it wanes. And to speaking of the moon, I mean, it kind of goes back and forth as far as how important, the rah-rah masculinity has to be, and
hmm,
the frail femininity has to be, and the women are the strongest in the world, and you're like, and also we'd like to lie down. And I mean,
yeah,
there's just like there's this thing where strong but frail, and frail but masculine is, you're just like, calm down. Everybody's just
yeah,
everything. And
yeah, yeah. And
it's,
when Oh, sorry. When we talk about
no, that,
like goddess of love, Venus, like the goddess of love, not just the romantic type of love, love as the verb, how you treat others, the ways in which you display kindness and care, the ways in which you beautify yourself, what makes you
yeah.
feel great, love.
Yeah, love. I just finished rereading the C.S. Lewis. I haven't done the trilogy, actually, the third one yet, but C.S. Lewis wrote a space trilogy that's more fantasy than science fiction. It's called and it's actually the best defense of Christianity I've ever read in my life. The first one is called Out of the Silent Planet, and the second one is called Paralandra, and it's about space travel, but set in um a world where, outside of the Earth, the space in between all the planets is actually heaven, and that's where the
Ooh.
angels live.
Oh,
And then the angels have in their care a planet, traditionally. And unfortunately, the angel that was in charge of Earth was Lucifer. And so,
so we get to another rat.
uh, and well, so the battle of the heavens
Yeah,
trapped him on Earth. And so science has gotten to the point where we can leave the Earth.
right.
By the way, C.S. Lewis knows nothing about space travel, and he wrote it in 1943. So you got to cut him some slack. He thinks the spaceship, if it's round, it has gravity. Mm.
Uh,
There's some trouble there. He's a
yeah, yeah.
philologist. He's not really, and he's probably, I think he's an anti-technocrat. But So the first planet they go to is Mars, which is where a lot of the battle happened. But the second
Mm.
book is Paralandra. They go to Venus, which is called
Ah.
Paralandra. And it is essentially a new Eden. And there's this talk of this love of life, and this ecstasy and this amazing, just sort of how big life can. It's just, I forget, in the beginning of the book he lands on essentially our uh the one human. So essentially, if Paralandra's Eden,
Hmm.
they the bad guys send another sort of serpenty person, but it's a person. It's
Hmm.
just a guy who's possessed by Lucifer or whatever, possessed by the devil or a demon or whatever.
Hmm.
And so the good guys send another person. So it's different from Eden because there's no, I was just talking about this morning, is that there's no defense of, um, in the Garden of Eden, there was no one there to take the part opposite the serpent in the story, right?
Right.
So in the
Right.
story, it's just Eve and the serpent is like, well, it's a dumb rule. It doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you be able to eat the fruit from that one tree? That's arbitrary. And she's like, it is arbitrary, and that might be the point. Just obedience for the sake of the love of it.
Right.
And the serpent's like, yeah, but it just feels rude. Doesn't it feel rude? And then just sort of the Chinese water torture of that until she's
Mm.
like, I think you're right. So in this Eden, there is sent a defense lawyer, essentially. And he is our main character named Ransom. And so the law is that a weird arbitrary rule is you cannot sleep on the fixed land. All the lands are islands on Paralandra, on Venus,
Mhm.
and it's a new different rule. And so the serpent character is like, well, that's dumb. Why wouldn't you? And and so our ransom guy is trying to explain the reason. He's like, you don't know the reason, but there's clearly a reason. It might just be arbitrary for the sake of, are you willing to do this? And what will you benefit? Do you need to do it? Is there some reason you feel this necessary? And so the dialogue continues. But in the beginning of the book, he describes what Venus is. And it
Mm.
is this ecstasy of love. It's just the enjoyment of you're just like, without guilt.
Yeah. Guilt,
It's
no guilt, no shame.
no guilt, no shame. Just look how amazingly beautiful and gorgeous this is, and how delicious this fruit is, and how
Mhm.
crazy funny that frog looks, and
Mhm.
how, what is happening with this wave. And, just like, he's like, the enjoyment was just such like this weird, visceral, Venetian level of love
Mm.
that he described in this way that made it both dangerous and powerful, but also full of love and kindness and joy, right?
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
just kind
Reverence
of
for
crazy.
awe.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. And so if you have this, if you're in like in a Venus house, it'd be a weird, like, because like they say Cancer is this nurture and this care,
Mhm.
but whatever but whatever the next one is that is loving is not, doesn't mean it doesn't have nurture and care. It just means it's just more different, or more parts of it or
A
something. Yeah.
different expression of it.
Yeah. Well,
A
that's
different
wild.
expression of it. Yeah. I look at all of this, well, when I think about it, like love expressing itself, and love not in the way, not in the Hallmark card kind of way, in the butterflies. Oh my God, he walked into the room and I got butterflies, which I now know is danger. I've had therapy. I'm like, it's no such thing as love at
Zzz.
first sight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's not
um,
love. That's just your hormones.
that's
That's
my
just you're going,
hormones. Yeah.
look how handsome that fella is. And
Yeah.
it's yeah.
But love in the way of I am connected to my humanity, and I'm determined to make sure that I'm able to see your humanity.
Right. Wow. That effort.
Hmm.
It sounds, first of all, like an effort sometimes.
Yes, and
And,
and
but if you
in
can do
order.
it,
Mhm.
yeah.
Willing, I'm one of those people who's willing to go to any length to like hold on to that part of myself so that I can move through the world. I'm like, a lot of stuff happening. What can I do to make sure I'm not contributing to the problem and to at least be a safe space for people who also are curious about how can I be a part of a solution or something. I can't fix or
Right.
change anybody. I can just help people on their journey, on this crazy road we're all walking on. I use
Right.
astrology for that. To help
Right.
me out. Like, what are my strengths? Well, I'm a fire sign. I happen to be the kind of fire sign that also works with her earth sign, so that knows how to stay kind of organized and stuff. But
Yeah.
it helps with work. I'm on stage every weekend performing for
Hmm.
people, and I've learned how to focus the fire. That's what being a Virgo rising helps me do. Help me focus the fire and not burn everything down, because I can make it
Right.
scorched earth, which
ah,
sometimes
the temptation. You're just
yes.
like, but I think does it, I mean, in with any sort of study of this type of thing, and
Yeah.
it's sort of I think it's kind of a philosophy from the sound of it.
Yeah.
It helps you learn to deal to sort of know your own, to know your strengths, but also to know your own strength,
Hmm.
and to not use to try, absolute power corrupts absolutely at every level, right? I've
Every
seen
level.
I've seen flight attendants lose their mind, and you're just like, okay, all right. I mean, I'll do whatever you want, or that person should do whatever you say, but you have to know that you're ridiculous, because but it's, I mean, and so, because right after when they were serving snacks again, there was a guy on the overhead who was like, "This is what I want to see. Pull down the mask, take a bite of it, put the mask back up. Pull down the mask, take a bite of it, put the mask back up. If the mask is down too long, I'm taking away the food." He literally said, "I'm going to take away your food." And that's, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's a safety issue, but post COVID, not everybody's vaccinated. I get it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, the
yeah,
paranoia, that's the person that's got to be on the plane with everybody.
right.
Passengers
Four
are on
times a day.
maybe,
Yeah.
two planes, three planes. Unfortunately, they can't get
Yeah.
the best ticket. But flight attendants, like stuck in that tin can with so many
For
people all the
just
time.
for hours and hours. You're right. Actually, a little more sympathy, a little more
Yeah.
sympathy. And but yeah, but I do think that it is that. I think that as a philosophy, it can tell you how to know
Hmm.
your own boundaries, not to limit yourself, but to know that there are limits.
Know that there
And
are limits. Yeah.
if
Also
you
know
don't want to, oh, go ahead.
and also know collectively what everybody else is going through. Like I was saying earlier, these planets that take a longer time to move around the sun, like Pluto and Uranus and Neptune. Like Pluto is a generational planet. It takes 89 years for Pluto to make a whole rotation around the sun.
Okay.
The Earth, 365 days. Pluto, 89 years. So the movement of that planet, it affects society differently. Like Pluto was in Capricorn for 15 years or so, from
Okay.
2008 to like earlier this year. And, or no, when did Pluto move into Aquarius? Pluto moved into Aquarius in November. So November
Okay.
19th. I know too much. And so Pluto,
Martha
while it was in
Boles, you guys.
while it was in Capricorn, Capricorn was like the sign that ruled systems and governments and organizations, and Pluto is the kind of planet that rules um, change, destruction, not for the sake of destruction, for the sake of tearing down systems so something can grow and be better. So it
Okay.
was in the sign of where patriarchy thrived, real rigid systems, authoritarianism, um, real strong man type of energy. And now it's moved into Aquarius, and it'll be here for
Yeah.
20 years in the sign of Aquarius, which is the people. It's about the collective, about technology, things like that.
Okay.
We're going to see swift changes in power. Um,
Yeah.
and we're seeing
It's going to
themes of
get real
war,
messy. It
real
sounds
messy.
right.
These
But
transits are real messy,
yeah,
but for
whenever you,
good.
right, right. It's always like, it's because I was thinking about the last election and I was like, well, we could have come from a place of power and it still would have been a fight. But now we don't come from a place of power. And so it's going to be a much messier fight. But the fight is going to be there because you cannot undo, you cannot take away what has been given, and you cannot unlearn, though they can try, and they will succeed in some places, but it
Hmm.
will not. Civilization is inexorable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I also believe that before things get better, sadly, they get worse. Sadly, you're like, this house needs some repair. Open everything up, get shit out. Then we clean things up and figure out what gets to go back in.
yeah,
Or we get to see we need to dismantle this house and rebuild something on a better foundation. Um,
right.
and right now we've got community. It's very important to find your people and
Yes.
hold on. I like to joke that, we're heading to hell in a handbasket. Just my side of the handbasket has got fair trade wicker. Uh
Ooh,
we're
wicker. Mm.
we're burning responsibly.
All right.
We're burning
I will
controlled
say that
burns.
my father told me in 1972 or 73, he said, empires fall. And I was like, I'm 8. Anyway, but I do that. I love that. Get your community
Yeah.
and hold on.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's been an hour, by the way, Martha.
Oh my goodness.
We
How I
did
can do a
it.
quick one through of the rest of them.
Yeah, yeah. What are the rest of them? Yeah.
Okay, so we ended it. Libra is fixed air.
Mm-hmm.
Then after Libra, we have Scorpio, which
Mysterious.
is water. It's a water sign. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to correct myself. Libra is cardinal air, the initiator of
Okay.
the fall. Cardinal
Right.
air. Scorpio, fixed water. After Scorpio is Sagittarius, mutable fire. And
Oh,
then
wow.
after that is Capricorn. We just left that season. That Capricorn is cardinal um mm, Earth. Yes, cardinal earth energy,
Okay.
represented by the sea goat, really
right,
steadfast and stubborn, but really good, hardworking
right.
sign.
Right, right.
Then after that, we got Aquarius, which is fixed air.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended with Pisces, which is mutable water. No,
Mutable.
yeah,
It's
mutable
water.
water.
Yeah.
Mutable water.
Wow. So I was chatty through much of this. So if we didn't talk about your side, I'm so sorry.
So
But
sorry.
but it was fascinating to sort of hear the philosophy and sort of the big picture of all of this stuff. Yeah, I don't I'm on board. I'll rattle bones and throw them at the moon. I don't care. Anything
Yeah.
to make me slightly saner and make it possible for me to go day to day.
Exactly. And like a lot of the astrologers I like to follow are ones that aren't about like pop astrology and like this is what's going to happen and predictive kind of stuff. The astrologers I follow are people who encourage all of us to get to know ourselves and to work towards a world that is just
Mhm.
and people have bodily autonomy. And I certainly believe that if you are a human being in this plane of existence inside of a shell, a body, no matter how what that body looks like, how it performs, you're entitled to certain things. Those things: food, clothing, shelter, water.
Yeah.
self-determination.
Hmm.
So these are the things I'd like to work towards. And
Who's your fave astrologer that
oh my gosh,
you got a couple?
I got, yeah, quite a few. I follow
Okay.
Channy Nicholas. She's got a great
Channing
app.
Nicholas.
Channy Nicholas, uh, Dr. Michael Lennox,
Okay.
um, and Queer Cosmos. What's his name? Colin. Oh, I can't remember
It's
his last
called
name, but
Queer Cosmos.
Queer Cosmos. You'll find him on
Love it.
yeah, yeah. A lot of it's funny now that I think about it, a lot of the astrologers I follow, like queer, but queer as in not about sexuality, just about a deviation or not deviation. That's not even a variation from the norm. Here's norm, what normal is.
Right.
Here's queer. It's all inclusive kind of stuff. Like
Love it.
where do we follow? So, yeah, a lot of queer astrologers out there looking for a just liberated world through the sun and the planets and how they respond.
Yes. All right, you guys. Martha Boles, marthaboles.com. It's Ms. Martha Boles on Instagram. Last post 2023. Just if you're ever in San Diego, just go to the Shout
Yes.
House, and hopefully
Okay,
she'll be
shout outs.
dueling a piano,
Mhm.
which is really collaborative. Thank you so
Yes.
much for doing the show, Martha. Again,
Thanks for having me, Jackie. Always a pleasure.
always a pleasure. And Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
Hi, Doll. How was the show?
Well, it was with Martha Boles, and I enjoy Martha Boles. So it was great. It was about astrology, which
Astrology.
right. We only know, and we have talked about this, we only
Yes.
know the astrology about ourselves because
That's true.
we were forced to read the horoscopes.
Right. And we really don't know much about that even.
No, I know that I'm Cancer, so I'm supposed to be a homebody.
Right. Well,
What do
I
you
know
know?
that I'm an Aquarius and that I'm supposed to be fairly gregarious and easy to get along with.
Okay.
And I also
yes.
know that a lot of our astrological signs are not actually where they were 2,000 years ago when all these astrological things started appearing.
That's right.
Because the planets have moved around since then.
Right. And I remember Lisa Will did an episode of the Dork Forest.
That's right.
Probably 15, 17 years ago. She is an astronomer.
Yes.
And she said that she has explained that to so many incoming freshmen who have been sad that they had Libra tattooed on them. And,
right.
And has made them sad.
And sad that they thought they were taking an astrology class when they actually signed up for astronomy.
She didn't tell me that, but I think she might have.
There's some of that too. She might have told
me. Yeah, I'm sure there's some of that. I will say that I liked that it felt like it was kind of sort of a recipe for your good sides and your bad sides. Like they say that there's follow through, you're kind of stubborn, but you're solid, Taurus or whatever. So we went through all the different things.
And they also give you some choices too. Like you could be gregarious, or maybe you could be sort of aloof, or maybe you're like that. Because, Aquarius.
You don't know.
And then you're supposed to just go, yeah, sure, Aquarius.
Right. But it was kind of interesting because she talked about, and I'd heard about this before, but I didn't know. And she's like, I just use it as, it's one of those things that she got into during lockdown. She just started listening to podcasts. And
Right. It's a big rabbit hole you can fall right into.
Right. And it's not predictive. She doesn't go to the ones who are like, and this is what's going to happen in March of this year, and you should possibly buy crypto, and
Right.
It's very much. It feels like kind of a pep talk. It feels like kind of a.
Yeah.
These are traits that you could lean into. These are traits that you should watch out for.
That's right. And I think it's probably also useful if you're searching around for a higher power and you don't want to use the traditional God form.
Right. It's kind of nice.
I'm going to give it up to my astrology, and we're going to let things fall where they may.
Right. It's almost science. Yes. Like planets and stars and
it's
fantasy
adjacent.
Versus science fiction. Science fiction versus
it uses
fantasy.
Some of the same words.
Well, Yeah, so you can take it or leave it in Martha Boles' opinion, and
That's right. I think she's
thought it
got
was
the right
fascinating.
attitude.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah.
Anyway, so everyone, I hope you enjoyed it, and you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?